Hello, everybody. I'm Dave. That's Scott. Welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. Today we are reviewing Star Trek Nemesis, 2002. It was entrance number 9, I
And
believe, 10 of the
and
Star Trek movies. Um, I know what I think of it, Scott. I think you and I are going to differ a little bit
which I'm hoping
on
for.
this. Let's find out. Uh, I think I
we
texted you during the movie a few
Yeah, you
times.
did. And I think I might know what some of the issues are and might not, but I had my own
Mhm.
issues. However, this particular movie is the last of the next generation
Right,
movies.
right.
And watching this now, knowing that spoilers, Data actually, we will see Data again, even
Right,
though Data
right.
sacrifices himself at the end of this movie. I remember that being a very big sticking point for me on why I really did not like this movie.
Yeah,
Um,
which is probably why
so
they brought Dana back.
it probably is. And
Mhm.
man, blue skies, you know,
Yeah. You know who caught that? The wife caught that. Because I'm listening to it, I'm like, there's a reason this I knew there was something and I couldn't put my finger on it. And Kat's
yeah,
like, Blue Skies, that's the movie, that's the song that he was singing through the whole
yeah,
thing. I'm like, oh shit, you're right. That's what I was thinking.
yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta tell Scott. And she looks over at me, she goes, you better tell him I'm the one who told you that.
There it is. Thank you, Kat. Well, I didn't understand. What about blue skies? And then when I started watching, it's like, there it is.
I thought you were already watching it when I texted you
No,
that.
no,
So
no, no. It's
yeah,
all good.
that was
It's all good. That's why I was like, what,
okay.
Dave? In the sky, blue? I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
figure it out when I watch.
yeah,
But
you texted me like, "What are you talking about? Sky's blue? What? Of course the
literally,
sky's blue."
um, this particular movie, like I said, when I originally had seen it, this is probably only my third watching of it,
Yeah,
and I didn't care for it those times. Now, this is going to sound crazy, but this movie holds a spot in my heart for a damn good Star Trek movie. I absolutely adore this movie. I'll tell you why when we get
so
there.
you're gonna have to tell me why. You're
Yeah,
gonna have to use graphics and charts,
I
and
won't even need
maybe
a pie
an
chart.
abacus.
No, this movie is cool. Now, while there may be issues for somebody who's more brushed up on the lore and
Mhm.
stuff and follows it, and I totally respect and understand that. For me, some of that stuff doesn't matter. But the biggest thing for me is somebody explained to me how Wesley Crusher was there, and then they didn't even bother to say anything about it. He's at the
Where was
wedding,
Wesley Crusher?
sitting right next to his mom at the wedding.
You're shitting me.
Yeah, he's on IMDb even.
I didn't notice. I honestly
I
didn't
mean,
notice.
as a watcher, he could appear, but we're just going to
Yeah,
ignore it. I mean, it was brief, man. It was brief.
yeah, I didn't catch it. I honestly didn't catch it.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
crazy. Now
I,
that's
I
okay.
thought
That's
that
a
might
good
have been
little
one
head
of your
nod.
issues.
No, no, I did see, I wouldn't have had an issue with Wesley showing up. I would have had an issue if he would have had a big part. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
w and I still think Wesley Crusher was probably the worst character on the Star Trek universe,
Yeah,
um, for me, and it's mostly because, he just wasn't written well. Get the hell out of here, really?
there he is.
That's crazy, and he's in the thing is, it looks like he's in a Star Trek uniform or a
He
Starfleet
is.
uniform.
He is.
Doesn't make any sense.
He has the ability to be there, but we're just going to ignore the elephant in the room.
Yeah, and but the continuity for him being in a Starfleet uniform doesn't make any sense.
That's
He's not
odd. I don't know what's
anymore.
going on with that. That was a
I don't know
weird
that he was
catch.
ever in Starfleet, was he?
Yeah, I think he eventually was. Yeah,
He
yeah.
did get to be like
He
an
he
ensign,
became
right?
an ensign, I believe. Yeah,
That-
I believe he did make ensign. Yeah,
That's
I
interesting.
watched so little of the Next Generation that I didn't.
Yeah.
But
See,
this particular, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, don't know. What I have to say is might build on what you're going to say. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. No, that was just one of the things. But what I'll go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of
Mm,
this movie here. We're dealing in this movie with a clone of Jean-Luc Picard, who was developed to replace the original Jean-Luc. And when plans fell through, the child who was the clone of Jean-Luc was sent into the dilithium mines on Remus, and basically was made into what he was. I always thought that was kind of janky, this whole idea.
I did too. And let me tell you what, I mean, maybe they explained it somewhere and I was just so disgruntled with this movie. There are neat things in this movie. And with a simple, well, maybe not a simple rewrite, but a change of villain would have fixed 90% of the problems, in my opinion. I'll tell you who they should have had. But my biggest problem is with the clone. He's a slave. They put him in the dilithium mine. Now, he's not going to be, unless they physically altered him as a clone, he's not going to be as strong enough to handle a dilithium mine in Remus on a planet whose oxygen levels are different from humans, whose gravity level is different from Earth. There's just a lot of little things that I was like, I got to make up a lot of my own assumptions to make this work. And none of my assumptions work to make this guy wind up being a fleet commander.
Okay. You know what? Okay, so let's talk about that. And that's something I didn't explore. And that's a very valid point, because yes, the Remans have no problem being there because of their genetics. But here, Shinzan is a human, but he is 100%. He's a Picard. He's Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
Same diseases, same weaknesses, everything. And he would have never been able to survive that. They never explained that. Now the fleet commander, I can say that if he be that, the Reman who became his viceroy, Ron Perlman, actually is who played that character.
Yeah, that was nice. I never realized that until this watching.
Yeah.
That was Ron Perlman.
Once I looked at the cast and heard, it's like, yep, that's Ron Perlman. Very distinct voice. I get how he could befriend him and he could have shaped him and saw him as a key to getting out and taking over. So we're missing a lot of parts in here, and we're just taking it for granted that this just happened. And that seems kind of rushed, but thankfully they didn't drag it out to go too far. But
his viceroy, the character that Ron Perlman played, was still a slave too.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's a missing piece here on how it all came about.
Come in. Where did they get their freedom? But none of that's explained. So you have to take this leap in logic. And then you have to make up your own story. Like, okay, how he got to this point. So shooting forward to the point of the him being the general or the captain of whatever the ship was. The design was kind of cool.
Yeah, but that's a pretty cool ship.
Whatever. With that, my first note, it's been a long time since I took notes.
Wow, look at all those notes.
These notes were.
Let's hear them.
This movie had problems, and not all bad. It wasn't all bad. I just write down the things that I had problems with. So, bullet pointing. And my first bullet point is, so the Romulan Senate is completely ignorant. When that device starts opening, no one ran away. They literally did the look at it.
Yes.
That device is opening up right where that senator just got up, told me basically.
Dude,
told me
nobody even said, "Hey, lady, you left your purse. You left your purse here." I mean, somebody. No, then she just walked out.
Like,
Yeah, I thought that was a little weak.
The things, I mean, the DNA twirl starts.
I would have ran out the door.
At that point of the DNA twirl, I'd have been out the fucking door. I'd have been like, whoa, I'm out.
You still had a good 10 seconds.
More than that, dude. Because you're sitting there watching the thing develop.
That's true. It did go on for almost a minute. Plenty of time to get out of that room.
Not one of you fuckers is yelling for guards. Not one of you guys is getting up and running for the door.
Yeah.
Nope. They all stood there, watched it. Bomb went off, killed everybody in the room.
It would have been more effective as a suicide bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, honestly, that's what I thought was going down. But then she walked out.
Or if she would have walked out and somebody walked in with a suitcase, like you said, again, suicide bomb. Somebody walks in that's, one of her people, boom, all of a sudden. That would have worked. but would have been at least more
Believable.
believable.
Yeah, sure.
The Blue
Give you that
Sky
one.
song was really cool. It was a nice.
Yep.
I like where they pulled that into the Picard series.
Absolutely. Not only that, there were bottles of Chateau Picard in this one.
I missed the bottles of shit.
Yes.
Where were they? Were they at the wedding?
I think so. Or there was at some point they were having wine and they focused on the bottle. I think it was at the wedding. It said Chateau Picard. And it's like, there it is.
Kat pointed this out because I was looking at this one scene in the movie thinking, that's interesting. But it didn't really dawn on me. It's when they go down to the planet when they're getting the funny readings in the 9 different spots. They go down and they find
and see the sand people.
Another spoiler. Yeah, the same people. Same people are in Jeeps.
Yeah. It's a different universe. They can do that.
They go down and they find the other data, the before.
Before, yeah.
And Kat's like, when did this turn into a Road Warrior movie? And I was like, oh shit,
wrong.
That's right, it's Road Warrior. And then it turns into Fast and Furious.
Yes. I can't tell you. Okay, so
I got that or not?
No, but I got to comment on that because when Data was calculating that and piloting the thing, and he did that, I said, there is a logical explanation. He's an android. He can do the computations. He can make it work. He is not Dominic Toretto, is what I told Janine. Because it was.
Did she start laughing?
Yes, because we're like, yeah, family. Family will do it. Yeah.
She talked about the turning into Road Warrior, and then like as they're jumping in, I was like, "That's Fast and Furious."
Very much,
and I've
very
never even
much.
seen a Fast and Furious movie, but I've seen all the like the previews and shit, and I'm like, that's what they would do. Oh, where else was I? Yeah, Janeway spotting was nice. Was a nice tip.
That was great. Thanks for reminding me that she showed up.
Now, was this movie filmed during the filming of Discovery, or was Discovery over?
You mean Voyager? Voyager.
I'm sorry,
I think.
Voyager.
I think Voyager had already ended because Janeway is like the.
He's an admiral in this. I was just trying to figure out where this.
Yeah, so that's after Voyager. When Voyager ends, she's an admiral.
Which was nice to have her.
Yeah. Yes, it was very nice.
Now, we in this universe and in this timeline, if we call up a services company in India, probably, we get put on hold music. When they were trying to contact the Romulans, the Remus ship, after they had the Force, run into Romulus, they were put on hold, and hold music was playing. I'm almost sure that's what that was. If you go back and watch that,
oh my god, I missed that.
Where they're asking like to talk to somebody,
and
whoever's in charge of communications is like, well, we're not getting anything. The music sounds like hold music.
Oh, that would.
Cat both looked at each other and were like, is that hold music?
Oh my god, it probably was. Nice little subtle joke. Because they sat out there for 17 hours waiting on a response.
Exactly. Here's where my big thing is. The big reveal. Who's the big enemy? Who's the guy that we got to look out for? Was this little whiny clone that didn't speak with a Romulan or a Remus accent. No, he had a British accent. Where the fuck did he get a British accent on a planet full of aliens that don't sound British when they're talking to him?
I think Tom Hardy was miscast in here. So
was that Tom Hardy?
That was Tom Hardy. Yeah,
because I saw Tom Hardy. I'm like, shit. Where the fuck is he? He's right in front of me in half the movie.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Tom Hardy fan, and it's nothing against him personal or even his acting. It just I get it. I didn't feel he fit this. So
this wasn't a good role for him. I didn't like the costume that they had him in.
I know that was weird.
His head looked so bobble-headed in this.
Yes, and with the little tiny neck, it's like he should have just put some rings around it and stretched it. But
yeah, I think that should have costume design-wise they failed with him.
Yeah.
I didn't mind him having like the little cloaky portion of it. That was kind of neat. But I thought it should have been more Romulan looking. If you're going to put this guy in a costume, make it look more Romulan.
It was kind of It was weird. It was almost like he was going to walk a catwalk or something.
Yeah, that kept waiting for him to go, ooh, sexy, ooh, sexy.
Sachet, sachet.
Yeah, sachet. My biggest problem is here. There is, I don't know if you've gotten this far in the Next Generation or not. In the Next Generation series, Tasha Yar from an alternate timeline she knows she's going to die if she stays in her timeline. So she somehow goes forward in the regular timeline. She winds up, but she winds up in Romulan hands. She becomes a slave. She gets married to a Romulan. She winds up having a half Romulan child. The half Romulan child's name is Sela or Sela. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Sela. They had her on the show a couple of times because that was the big shock when Sela shows up. It's Tasha Yar, but only half Romulan, and you're like, "Holy fuck!"
Wow, that is a big reveal.
She's got a big boner against the crew of the Enterprise. She really hates Picard because she let her mom get sold into slavery. She had to let her mom, her mom was beaten until this one guy finally gets her and marries her or whatever. But Sela's never forgiven Picard. She's found out about this crew. She knows about the timeline. She figures it out, what happened.
That would make more sense.
Picard. When they showed Baldy as the clone, and I remember being in the fucking theater with the old lady watching this movie, when they showed this guy show up, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And he's trying to explain who he is and where he came from. I looked over at her, I said, what about Tasha Yar's daughter? This main villain should have been Tasha Yar's daughter because I don't think she died in the series. I think her ship crippled off, got crippled in a battle and took off. I don't think she died in the series. And even if she did die in the series, it's Star Trek. You bring the villain back with a boner even bigger because whatever. That character, they should have pulled Denise Crosby back. They should have had her play the daughter. They should have had her be the big villain, taking over Romulan Empire with a couple of her cohorts. And in today's day and age, when you're looking at strong, powerful women, Denise Crosby played Sela in such a way that you believed she was going to kill you. Like she had a hard on and she didn't like Picard.
Yeah.
It would have worked better to have her on this series or in this movie. If you haven't seen those, see if you can find them
I haven't, but you bring up a good point, and it's one I addressed earlier. Since I haven't seen all the episodes, and when you explain all of that makes perfect sense. That would set up a good villain. I didn't have that to go off of, so I have this villain, which works for me, except for what you pointed out earlier about how the hell I was like, oh, I forgot about all that. I bought it. I just jumped ahead and just ignored the logic and went with it. But
and sometimes I can let go of something and just go, okay, he's a villain because he's a villain. I don't even mind that kind of thinking. Like I'm Dr. Doom because I'm Dr. Doom. I'm a bad guy because I'm a bad guy. I'm Loki because I'm Loki. Whatever. I can usually just buy into a bad villain. This guy's there was no motivation for him. If anything, you would have thought he got Picard and would have had like some blood or done whatever they said the Naka's thing. He'd have been like, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Now I'm going to go fucking take over Romulus. Have a nice day. And took off. But no, he hated Picard. There can't be two of us in the universe. Blah, blah, there's room for only one. Blah, blah, blah. Kind of thinking. And none of his motivation made sense. His hatred for Picard didn't make sense.
I don't know if he necessarily hated Picard.
It seemed like he really hated Picard.
He needed Picard. He needed Picard greatly if he was going to survive. He had to have Picard's blood.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But you would have thought they would have figured something out. Like, you know what? Maybe you should just ask him. Let me just explain to him what's going on. I mean, I've read his books. I know what this kind of guy he is. If I let him know what's going on, they'll help me.
Okay.
Nope. Instead,
let me roll back a little bit then.
Kill his. Do what? I'm sorry.
Now I'm going to roll back a little bit because this gives me an opportunity to explain why I like this movie, because it's in direct relation to Shinzon and his anger and stuff.
Right.
What I really noticed in this movie, and this also goes with Data dealing with B4, you have Picard and Shinjan, and this is a classic nature versus nurture setup.
Right.
You've got Picard, who was brought up with love and support, and Shinzon, who was sent to be a slave child. And of course he came out of there angry. Of course he wanted to destroy I get it. He was irrational. And the thing is that I feel that very well could have been Jean-Luc as well, had been in that situation, and vice versa. So when you look at that, and you're looking at the whole story they're trying to tell with Data and B4 as well, there's everybody's trying to become human. And really the only one who does it the best is Data at the end. Who really shows you he's just as human as anybody else. And that's
once again, it's the actor.
Oh my God, Brent Spiner.
Just out acting everybody in the movie.
Good God. I never noticed it before, but he does, man. He's so good. I never really paid attention.
I never noticed until we watched Picard.
Yeah.
Now, I knew he was a good actor, and I knew he could pull stuff off and do comedy. He could do drama. I've seen him do a lot of different things, but I never really noticed that he was basically the best actor out of the entire series. Then you go back and watch these movies, and you're like, holy crap, he really is the best actor. I mean, I'm sorry. You can say whatever you want about Jean-Luc Picard. Data's got the story. It's Data's story, really.
It is. It's Data's story. This is what I realize. The whole Next Generation has been Data's story. Yeah. You have exploration of other planets, but what you have is Data exploring what it means to be human. And what is more Star Trek than exploring what it means to be human? Yeah. I mean, that's why I dig this setup.
It's a very anime/manga way of looking at it. Man versus machine. Man is machine. Machine is man. You know, ghost in the machine.
Yes.
It's anime really handles that really well. Like, if you want to read a good story, I highly recommend Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah.
Or Ghost in the Shell. I'm sorry, not Ghost in the Machine.
Ghost in the
Shell. Because it's people changing their bodies, and then how much is too much, and how much when you change your body so much do you turn into the machine, and when does the machine turn into a human? Like,
that's deep. I've got to go read those.
So Data has always been the most interesting, favorite character, but I never understood why. Then Worf. I mean, it's Data and Worf. Those guys are really up there for me. But Worf for other reasons. But for Data, he is the most complicated. Riker wants to get laid. Troy wants to help everybody. The Doctor wants to cure everybody. And Picard wants to be in charge.
Yeah.
And have a family that he doesn't necessarily have. That's his family.
That is his family.
Data wants to be all that, but not necessarily with the ego. The ego's been removed from Data. So when you see him in here, and he's got no ego.
He's pure.
Maybe you can answer this question. This is because I think this is a problem in the movie. Maybe you paid attention. Maybe I missed something.
Maybe I didn't.
The little thing that Data puts on Picard and pushes. Yeah. I thought that was just a homing beacon that the Enterprise would zoom in on and then transfer.
It was a one-way teleport device that he and Geordi were able to make that would send one person back.
Actual teleportation basically, device.
Yeah.
One shot, one battery, done. Okay, because when they show the board blow up and then Data hits the button and he disappears, I'm like, wait a minute, that's Geordi just said the whole thing went out. How is he getting transferred? Okay, I misunderstood what that was.
I'm pretty sure when he first had that, because he was going to send Jean-Luc, it's like, no, we'll get out here together. That was a cool scene. And again, that was a Fast and Furious moment of flying the shuttle through the ship and out the observatory window. And I love that. That was really cool. It's like, damn, we're having a car chase in space.
The only fucking thing that I missed is whenever Jean-Luc's got the engines, he's like, well, we only have impulse power. Well, okay, full forward, let's go. And he's going to ram the ship. What I wanted to see him is to turn around and look at Mr. Worf and go, Mr. Worf, give the order. Worf should have went ramming speed. Just slammed
I
was
got to
waiting for
say something
somebody
about
to say it. Nobody said it.
It would have been great, but I was too busy laughing. And here we have poor Deanna Troy crashing the ship again. Do not give the woman the controls.
Well, this time she was ordered to crash the ship.
I
Let's be
know,
honest.
but it's like the irony was not lost on me. It's like, really?
But once
Deanna
again, the
gets
blinker was left on. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
I was like, what the hell?
Poor lady. She's like, I got to crash another ship. Are you kidding?
If I get to see her again, if I get to meet her again at a convention, I'm definitely going to ask her about her driving.
Yeah, 2 spaceships. You crashed 2 spaceships.
You crashed 2.
But yeah, it comes down to like my thoughts on this. This time around, I didn't mind the movie that much. I still don't like the clone for no reason.
No.
For me, he doesn't work as the. And again, I usually can just accept the bad. If he would have been Romulan, if he would have just been a random Romulan guy that maybe hated Picard because Picard killed his family, or in a battle, I don't know, something that I would have been like, okay, got it. Villain, he's got a boner against the Enterprise, got it, no problem. But the clone, I had a problem with it.
Yeah, when you mention that, though, the villain that just has it out for Picard, that's the perfect Star Trek villain. There's tons of them. I mean, they're just like, oh, I hate Kirk, I hate Picard, I hate Archer. I'm going, that's my whole goal is to go after Janeway. And it's like, that would have been fine. It would have worked.
Yeah, and I just think it would have been simpler. It
was a little complex.
They took a simple villain, tried to make him a complex villain, and all they did is make it a complicated story that didn't work for me.
Well,
I was going to say, still say it would have worked better with Denise Crosby coming back,
right,
and playing Sayla. And let's say you couldn't even get her. Let's say you're like, oh, we can, she doesn't want to do it for whatever reason.
If you'd just done the character,
then you just do the character, or you get Sayla's daughter. If Sayla had died in the series, then you really got a problem.
Yeah.
Then you fucked up my grandmother. You killed my mom.
There's stakes there. Yeah.
Killing your ass, you son of a bitch.
Here's the thing. I don't understand why he needed some sort of transfusion from Picard. Wouldn't it have been just as easy to just go ahead and clone another Picard?
Well, not just that, but what were they gonna do?
I'm not sure.
Was the Romulan plan to capture Picard again, or for the first time? I don't know.
They were going to replace him. They were going to replace him and have him in the Federation. So they would have a sleeper cell inside the Federation.
You would have had to have this guy ready.
Yeah.
So how were they going to get ready before they got Picard? Or were they planning on just somehow magically capturing Picard, one of the most protected guys in the Federation?
I gotcha. Yeah. How they didn't work out how they were going to get
to trigger it in the first place, and why didn't they do it this time? And then the doctor's like, "Well, he needs a full blood transfusion." I'm like, that your story just fell apart even more for me, because
that was
now
pretty
all of a sudden, the guy could have just asked for the blood. Hey, I need, I know it's going to be a couple of weeks, but I need some blood. Could you do this like maybe in a month? Pint a month, pint a week, and
he could have approached it differently. But
something.
In his defense, look at how he was brought up, and look at the mindset that was fed, and how all of that was put in. He's not logical.
And I get it.
He's just angry,
and I get it.
And they're all angry.
And again, they were all angry, and most of them were really ugly.
They look like vampires. That was interesting to me.
They all look like a Planet of Vampires. Now, see, that would have worked on Planet of Vampires.
It would have been perfect on Planet of Vampires.
But again, I just think he was a weak character. I think they had plenty of other characters that they could have picked.
His outfit was close to Planet of the Vampires. If he'd had a motorcycle helmet, he'd have been set, man. It was the shiny pleather.
The shiny pleather. I did like. Did you catch the defensive pattern that they flew?
Yeah, it was Kirk Epsilon or something like that.
Yeah, defensive pattern Kirk Epsilon. I just started chuckling. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit, yeah.
Now, here's another one. This is something for nowadays. Commander Danatra, She's the commander who shows up with the extra, destroyer, Romulan warbird. And she's like, we're here to help. She was a strong freaking character.
Yeah.
Because she's basically the one who looked at all these senators and generals and they're like, are you ready to kill and bring about an entire galactic war with all this blood on your hands to wipe out the planet Earth? Are you willing to kill? And
I
have
never
that
understood why he wanted to wipe out Earth. I guess to destroy the Federation, but still doesn't make sense. Yeah,
no, nothing made sense to me. But she's literally the strongest character in Romulan. And the good thing about Romulans is their generals, their females, are always very strong. Like there is no sexism, so to speak, in the Romulans. Even back in the 60s when Kirk shows up and he's having the affair kind of thing with the Romulans, and they're trying to steal the cloaking device from the Romulan ship that looks like a Klingon war bird of prey or warbird or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really, and even back then, nobody's giving her shit. There's not one man on that ship that wasn't terrified of that woman.
No.
Aboard on that Romulan ship. And so for her to come out, she was a strong character, but she wasn't bitchy. She wasn't written as like, I'm a Romulan woman with girl
that's
power.
just it. Star Trek has been doing this since the 60s, and they've been doing it right.
I always hate whenever I hear somebody say something stupid about girl power and, strong female leads is not enough. I'm like, this woman saved an empire.
We want to talk about Janeway for a moment.
Let's talk about Janeway. She almost got herself killed. Troy making the mind contact. What did you think about that?
That was cool. That was really cool. When he first reached out while her and Riker are trying to have an intimate moment, that is a severe violation. That was so fucking icky. And it's like, that was, man.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for her.
He was getting, and Riker took it out on him good too.
I love Riker. He's such a cool character.
Yeah, he's a good character.
But what I thought was cool was at the end of this, he leaves for command of the Titan, which we will see the Titan again.
So that's fun. That's fun. I forgot about that. That's cool. And there again, it reads right into the Picard series.
It does. So I think they did a great job of bringing, because this movie ended, and this was 2002, 21 years ago. Star Trek's over. We had nothing with the Next Generation until Picard came and gave us closure, because there was no real closure in this movie. It was Data's dead. That's it. Oh, so having the series finale of Picard in the way it did was a special moment. It really was. I want to go watch it again because it was so freaking cool. It's like they finally got to say goodbye.
And I still think they should have had his girlfriend there, his Romulan girlfriend. But that's
absolutely.
Me. There was a rumor. Do you know anything about the rumor of a Picard season 4? I heard that he was not interested in it, and then all of a sudden there's another rumor coming out.
The only rumors. No, I don't think there's going to be any more Picard, but the rumors are leaning very heavily. But since with the strikes going on, it's going to be a while. They're leaning really heavily toward a legacy series with 7 of 9.
See, I like
Geordi and his daughters. I'm down with that.
That would have been cool.
Especially if Rafi and Worf would show up. Now, I'm wondering if Rafi and Worf would be part of this Section 31 movie.
They need to be.
Yeah.
They need to be. That needs to be them.
Yeah.
It literally just needs to be them in charge of Section 31.
Well, I believe it's Michelle Yeoh from her character in Discovery, because she leaves for basically running Section 31. So.
Well, as far as the strike goes, I just have the opinion, if I were running a studio, if I were running Paramount, and I was going to make a Star Trek movie and all this shit came down, I'd just go overseas and get some writers that were fans of Star Trek. As much as I know it's going to pain a lot of people are going to be mad about it. That's what I would do.
If you were a studio owner.
At least get the scripts. At least get the scripts, get a good solid scripts. You can write them, you can rewrite them, you can do whatever you need. And then this way, whenever the thing's over and you go to your actors and go, okay, you guys want to come on? Or are you going to keep playing games? There's nobody's irreplaceable. I'm sorry. Last I heard, they were offered 11. I could be wrong about the numbers because I am getting my stuff from the mainstream media.
Yeah, well, the chances are it's probably wrong.
But the last I heard, there was like $11,000 a week, and they turned it down because reasons.
Well, there's a lot of problems with like Netflix, all the streaming platforms. The
Right.
writers are not getting paid. There's no residuals at all. Whereas if they go to video, they're getting residuals. Meaning if they go to DVD and stuff, they're getting that.
They're hiding their numbers. I know that.
And so the streaming companies really need to be brought in line to pay fairly for what, because they're making money. So what did the streaming companies do? And I just ran across this with NBC Universal with Peacock. One of their big flagship series, Battlestar Galactica, is not even available to stream because they don't want to pay residuals. So I went and bought the DVD. Guess what? Now the actors and everybody got a few cents from me at least, but they wouldn't. So HBO pulled off Westworld and multiple shows that these actors and crew and everybody did. But now they're no longer getting paid. They have no revenue. And I think it's really, there needs to be a balance, and hopefully they'll find it. But in the meantime, I guarantee people are writing shit.
But I absolutely agree with that. But if I were running a studio, and now I'm taking right and wrong out of this. I'm taking at least everybody else's version. I'm taking everybody else's version of right and wrong out of this. I'm a guy, I'm running the studio. I need to make my studio work. I have this project that I love. I'm like, shit.
You're going to make it work.
7 of 9 as a captain. Fucking great. Everybody's on strike. Okay. And the people that I really want to write this are on strike and don't want to talk to me and are calling me names right now. Okay. Who can I find? South Korea. They have really good writers. They love science fiction.
Oh,
they're not going to add a whole lot of political BS in it. I'm going to look and see if we got any fans over there. I'm going to see if we got anybody who can write this. Britain, they're not part of it. Got to be some fans over there. A lot of Doctor Who fans over there. I'd be looking around for writers, and then I'd find like 6 or 8 writers, whatever, how many you take, get a couple of good scripts up and running, get them perfect. So whenever you're ready to call them in, here you go. This is what we're shooting. But that's me. That's, again, I'm not part of that. So I'm thinking outside the box. And I really am thinking outside of the box because whenever they started asking people that are on YouTube and stuff to, not go to red carpet events and not do this and not do that. And you don't take money for, don't interview people. Don't talk to studios. You have to hate the studios. Well, there might be people at the studio that I would like. There's actors that I like.
Well, there's something that a lot of people miss is a very, very small percentage of actors don't have to have another job.
Exactly.
Most of them make less than $26,000 a year. So this hurts. So you can't tell me there's not something going on, somebody doing something in the background, because people got to get paid.
Well, they also keep overlooking for their big actors. They keep overlooking their own rules, or they've rewritten the rules so people can keep working. And who's
only
working?
Certain people?
It's not guys like you or me. It's not guys that actually need the money. No, it's their big name actors.
I know quite a few local union actors. They're not working. They can't, and it's just
they
ain't making any money.
I have my opinions on this. I just think there's a whole lot of backstabbing going on, and it's not good for the common worker. Once again, the blue collar actors getting killed. And
the crew members and all of that,
are
they're fine.
They're living in Maui right now.
Well, it's because they don't have to work. They don't ever have to work again. But it's everybody else who's living paycheck, making $150 a day on a set on a small something somewhere, just trying to make ends meet and do things, can't. And it's just the media paints a picture that's completely backwards. So.
This is just me kind of rambling about writing a series and how I would handle it. Now, being in the position, if I was actually there, I might not handle it that way. I might look around and go, nah, you know what? I'll wait. Whatever. But on the one hand, I maybe wait, maybe not. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be like, you guys don't want to write it. I'll find somebody else who will. And that's how I think we should be. Like, oh, you don't want to act in my movie? And because reasons? Okay, I'll find another actor.
Oh yeah, and that's
You know,
why
you should be allowed to
independent
do that.
studios are doing really well right now.
And
So
that's some of the rules that they changed, so big actors could actually work. And I'm like, wait a minute,
the big
wait a
actors
minute.
could work.
I have problems with this. You know, where's the? Weren't you guys all union? You're all supposed to be sticking together. Seems to me some aren't sticking together as much as others. Is all I'm
No,
saying. It's
as you
my
say, once
opinion.
again, the little guy
You
gets hurt.
folks, yeah, you folks out there can have your own opinion. That's my opinion. It just seems like the people that are getting hurt the most are the ones that can least afford it.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah.
And then you have to look at who's making the money. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But back to the movie, real quick.
Back to the movie.
Talking about writing, this is bad writing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, there are good scenes. There are things that I like. I could see where the guy or girl, whoever wrote this, I'm sorry, I didn't even look what they were trying to do. But there is a scene towards the end.
I believe the story's by Brent Spiner, if I'm not mistaken, but he didn't write the screenplay.
And well, yeah, I'm sure he looked at the screenplay and went, "What the hell? It's nothing like my idea." But there's a scene towards the end when they're having the big battle and things are shooting. The Enterprise is kind of parked. The ugly Enterprise that I just hate the design of is just kind of parked in space. And all of a sudden, you see this Romulan warbird coming at him, shooting, blasting the hell out of everything. And I'm like, nobody saw this ship. It's right there. I mean, the damn thing, the opening, the window, whatever the hell it is, 10 feet tall, 20 feet wide.
Yeah.
You see this spaceship coming at you, shooting. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody hit shields. Nobody looked at the radar thing that they have, the sensors.
I didn't even catch that. I
Nobody
thought the
saw
movie
this
was so damn it. Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, nice scene. I mean, it was like but it was a Steven Spielberg. Oh, screw it. I'm going to throw away all the devices that would actually catch
guess
this
what?
thing. And
I missed that, so it worked for me. It didn't work for you, but it worked for me.
Oh my God, I saw it last night. I'm like, nobody saw this ship? How did you guys not see this, mile-long ship flying at you? But that's me. Once again, to me, it was like bad writing. There are things that I do like about this movie. Brent Spiner, love Brent Spiner. Some good callbacks that are going to be callbacks that you see in this movie, you see in Picard. I don't know if I can recommend it. I hate giving movies a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah,
but I can't say not to watch it because I'm a huge Star Trek
better
fan.
than Generations.
No, yeah, it is better than Generations, but I put this right below Generations for me.
Oh wow!
So it's really close for me. I like the starship design on Generations a lot better, and I never liked that starship design until I saw this Enterprise, and I was like, oh my God, it's such an ugly ship. It's such an ugly ship. I prefer the Voyager. The Voyager looked better.
Voyager's cool. So your recommendation is, if you're a completionist or a fan, go ahead and watch it. It'll make sense when you watch Picard.
I bought it for $3, so now I have it. Yeah. I don't know when the next time will be that I watch it. I think this is only the second, maybe the third time I watched it. Brent Spiner's worth watching it for.
He absolutely is. He absolutely is.
And like you said, with the computer, when he's flying, he's remotely flying the shuttlecraft.
If Data is in charge of that, it's like having Spock computate how to slingshot and time travel, or having the Borg Queen. You've got a Data. Then they explore that again in Picard. We've got to have somebody who can where to go. So
exactly.
I love this movie, and I can't tell if I like it more than First Contact or not. So,
really, boy,
really,
we are on opposite
but
sides.
I mean, I get your point. What got me as this movie hits on a personal note for me, since I'm an adoptee and I got to experience what nature versus nurture firsthand by meeting my family and seeing the genetics. So when I'm watching this movie, this is hitting me a lot different than than it
all
would
right.
somebody who doesn't have that experience.
That completely makes sense.
And
You know?
that's why I was like, damn. And it got me thinking, and it just, it brought out a lot. So I felt this movie's deeper than it actually looks on the surface. There's a lot going on, and it's a quest for humanity. And it's the nature versus nurture. I just really dig it. I have issues with not much because I don't have the Star Trek knowledge that others might. You know,
so at least I almost was like, oh, now I feel really bad because I took notes on things I disliked about the movie.
You shouldn't. Your dislikes are valid, just like my likes are valid. We're going to find different things.
Looking at it from your point of view, I can see where you
it just hit really different.
I get it. That's why whenever we're doing these shows, I always say it's, this is one man's opinion. Take it and throw it out the window, or not.
Same.
So if you, again, Star Trek completist, watch the movie.
Yeah.
You'll like Data. You're probably really going to like Data.
You'll like Data.
For me, Brent Spiner's been the bright spot of all the Next Generation movies.
Yes,
he just has been. And I never realized, like I said, I always knew he was a good actor. I always liked the character. He's always been one of my favorite, but I never understood why until I saw Brent Spiner in all the Picard series, like all three series. I'm like, holy crap, that's why I like this guy so much. That's why he's such a damn good actor,
And so, and now we know, I don't know how, if they explained it in Picard, this is where I was hung up. Did Data do something to B4 so he was still around?
B4 was only in a drawer at that one.
Right. But how did they get Data at Daystrom Station?
If I remember correctly. Now, I
don't remember.
This is why I shouldn't have gotten rid of Paramount, because I would have went right to that episode.
I've been tempted to go back and watch.
I think you need to. I may wind up getting Paramount.
I'm going to have to go find out. Yeah.
But I think what happened is the Starfleet, because Data had been traced and tracked so much and scanned and all that, they could make the body. I think they could make the body. I think they actually had his download up to the last point when he was on that ship. It sounded like he downloaded, if I want to say that he downloaded into whatever computer system that they had.
Yeah, I got to watch that, because that would be the only thing that makes sense, because his body was destroyed. So either he downloaded into B4 or into,
They were using his brain on that one station.
Yep.
On the museum or whatever,
Daystrom.
I forgot what Daystrom station. They were using that because they couldn't get him to work. Like, all his memories were going through. His body just wouldn't work. It took Geordi to get there and know something that nobody else knew. And Geordi, everybody was shocked that he was there. They're like, what? Where the hell did this come from?
And at that time, he's dealing with three consciousness, Data, lore, and
Data's and lore.
Yeah.
And because all that's there, Daystrom Station's got all that. They couldn't figure out what to do with B4. He just wasn't. Basically, he was mentally. He's mentally retarded. Special. Is what it was for a computer like Data. They didn't know what to do with him, so they tore him apart. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, what? He's working. Why are you? You could have still studied him. But no, for whatever reason, they tore him apart, put him in a drawer, and shut him up. Data's body, I think, was on Daystrom Station. I think that was built by Starfleet.
Right.
The brain was built by Starfleet, but they couldn't get it to work right because whatever. Then Geordi gets there and does something. And I think maybe Data told him how to do it. Like, through the computer system was telling him what to do.
I don't know.
He just needed somebody that would listen to him, I guess. I'm not quite sure. I have to go back and watch that. But that's,
I have to go watch, because it was.
That's how it was.
It was a moment of them basically trying to support Data, because they knew when Geordi did something, it was going to unleash all the different consciousness, and one would survive. So it basically became Data had to fight himself for secure to take over. And that's such a, I want to go watch it. So this is where I'll leave you folks with this particular movie. It does set up the Picard, at least season 3, really well.
Yeah. The first 2, it doesn't really set up that well, but season 3 definitely.
Once you got Terry Matalas in there running the show, it really started connecting a lot of fan dots, and he worked it. God, it was such a pleasure to see something that somebody really loved. I mean, you could really see it. I'm not taking away from any of the Star Trek creators. I know they all loved it in their own way, but it just hits different when Terry ran it. That's all.
That was somebody that looked at that and went, the first 2 Picards, I go back and watch our reviews of the first 2 Picards if you'd like.
Yeah.
I had my problems with them, but all in all, I was like, oh, okay, this is not as bad as everybody was telling me it was. My biggest issues was some of the language. I swear like a sailor. I don't want to see it in Star Trek.
Fair enough.
But yeah, as soon as that 3rd season hit, it got pumped up. And it was almost like whoever was in charge before was like, I'm backing off. I'm getting so much crap from everybody. You're a fan. Not only are you a fan, but you're good at your job. Go do it. Some fans just destroy something thinking they know better than all the other fans.
Terry did a hell of a job with this one. So,
do that. But Picard season 3 was really good. Yeah. And like I said, I think they built them and they just couldn't get them working.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back and watch that too to see, but I'll go back and watch to see. But Dave says watch if you're a completionist. I say watch because it's pretty damn cool and it's a lot deeper. Take a close look at what's going on underneath the surface there. Right. I found it thoroughly enjoyable, and this movie did not have a ton of action till the end, but to me the tension was high throughout. It was the way it was shot. The scenes were shot very close, a lot of close-ups, a lot of uncomfortable shots that kept you kind of on the edge. So there was a little psychological tricks going on to push this movie through.
Right.
I really enjoy it. But we are now hitting the time that we go into our Halloween series of movies. So spooky stuff coming for a while. We'll probably cross into November and start Christmas early. Who knows what's coming? But first, a bunch of horror movies, classics and possibly newer, and then on to our Christmas season where we are going to watch something related to A Christmas Story. I promise you that. So if you like us, hit like, hit subscribe, hit share. You can find us on Apple, iTunes, podcast, hell, anywhere you listen to podcasts, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. Check us out. And thanks again, as always, for watching, and we will catch you next week.